Here's a tweet. I wanted to bring this one up, and this is interesting. If the Shapen report is true, not yet verified by Baylor, it is true. I am shocked and disappointed. I completely trust Aranda and Bell. But this one surprises me greatly. Hurt for GB. Dude gave it all for Baylor and more. Everything you want in a Baylor Bear. This doesn't feel right by him. Then, I'm sure he received some responses. Allow me to reiterate, clarify something. I love and trust my coach completely. Aranda is all class with us, with this. Coach Bell has been a big brother and friend of me, for me since 5 years old. No shade from me to the Baylor coaching staff. I just love Gerry Bohannon and want him under center.
Who's this?
It's somebody who was on my Twitter feed.
Okay.
That mentioned that. And, hey, this isn't easy. It's not easy. A lot of people may have written the same thing about Jacob Zeno back when they made the decision about Gerry Bohannon.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get it. I'm bummed out for Gerry Bohannon too, but it ain't a funeral. Like nobody's dead. Gerry Bohannon can still play football. He can still go play football somewhere else. He can play football at Baylor if he wants to. So, yeah, I mean, I get the disappointment. I definitely do not agree with those few who I've seen go, oh, this is the wrong decision. I think you have no idea when you say that. Yeah, because you have no more insight than the coaches do. And if you really believe that Dave frickin' Aranda and Jeff Grimes and Sean Bell are, making the wrong decision, then I don't think there's anything that any of us are going to say that are going to convince you otherwise. But I know that I trust those guys more than I trust the opinion of any fan out there, no matter the fan base. So if that's who they chose to ride with, then I'm going to trust that they made the right choice, and I believe they made the right choice if that's the conclusion that they came to. But I totally understand being disappointed for Gerry. But look, folks, this is just part of college football. Like, guys transfer. Baylor, this is not the first transfer Baylor's had. I mean, they've had multiple guys, and, I understand that Gary's just a little bit more personal, though, for people. But R.J. Sneed left, and there was, maybe an hour of people going, oh, that sucks. All right, on to the next guy. So, Gerry clearly
and was a great kid.
He was a great player and did everything. And there's tons of other guys who have left as well. I mean, Charlie Brewer basically gave his life out there, and people just cursed and hissed and kicked him on the way out, despite the fact that he gave every ounce that he had. So, obviously, Gerry made a difference for people in that they love him. And I get that, but, there's a lot of other guys who got far less of a glorious exit who still put a lot of work in as well. It's just part of the deal, and we can all be sad about it. But, look, he's fine. He's healthy. He can play quarterback, and he can play football, and I'm sure he will.
And the other thing I think they need to realize with Gerry going in, this is only 6 or 7 guys in the Aranda era that he's lost to the portal that you would maybe want back. And, I mean, they haven't lost hardly any total. His retention rate is unbelievable. So
that's really a story that we have, in fact, covered at times based on what we've said, but you're exactly right. And Andy Staples, who's going to join us at 5, interviewed him, and a lot of what you hear from Dave Aranda is what Dave Aranda, the trust and relationship with players. Now, that doesn't mean Gary's feelings aren't hurt.
Of course.
That doesn't mean he's not disappointed. If he wasn't, then he wouldn't be who we think he is or who we know he is. But, yeah, I think what you mentioned, the lack of a lot of transfers has a lot to do with the relationship. But eventually it comes down to numbers, positions, and other opportunities for others who don't have it at Baylor.
So what I'm saying is because of his retention rate here at Baylor, that means that everything he's doing is pretty darn good. So most of the guys that are going into the portal are going in because that's the absolute last resort for them to start or go somewhere.
Well, here's the thing, too. If Gerry Bohannon had been named the starter, I'll repeat this, Blake Shapen would be in the portal today, and that's who we'd be talking about. So either way, somebody's leaving. So, you can feel like maybe the wrong guy's leaving, and that's fine. But again, I'll trust Dave Aranda and Jeff Grimes and Sean Bell, who work with these guys on a daily basis, have seen every practice, every minute, have reviewed film of practices, have watched game film multiple times, have done all of those different things. They know better than anybody. And the last thing Dave Aranda is going to do is make this team worse. I mean, what would be the logic in him choosing Blake Shapen over Gerry Bohannon if they did not think Blake Shapen was going to win them more games? What logic would there be there?
Yeah.
There's absolutely none. So they clearly chose who they thought was the better quarterback, bottom line.
When we come back, Ross Dellinger, SI.com, I originally contacted him about the Mark Emmert